with a smile. Hat, tie, and boots, he's got a lot of style. He's sailing rubber duckies down your hall. Your train tracks running all around the wall. He loves to joke, he'll try to make you laugh. His family come from the watermelon star. You afraid of monsters, he would be so sad to know. He's really very friendly from his head down to his toes. He asked me not to tell you, but he'd like to be your friend. He's a greeny winterspan.
Hey, I want to thank you for, taking me serious this time and not desecrating this workplace with your sleeping bag, your makeshift hygiene. I feel that the energy here is different today. I feel like Phil would agree. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, I've been sleeping in my car. It doesn't work. My car is actually in the impound, but every night they close around 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just sneak into the...
How do you do that?
I'll just hop the fence, yeah.
It's no barbed wire? Or?
Well, there is, yeah. I'll just, what I usually do is wear like 7 pairs of pants. And that way when I get over the barbed wire, it kind of cuts up the first pair, but it doesn't get to the skin. And I'll sleep in the car. They get there around 6, so I'll just dip before they start opening.
You have to buy 7 new pairs of pants every week?
Well, the barbed wire... it's more like razor wire. It will shred about 2 pairs. So I've really been going through a lot of old pairs of pants quickly. But yeah, I will have to buy some new pants.
I feel like it'd be cheaper to just take that pants money budget and just get a
motel
something. Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I am afraid of motels, and I'll tell you why. When I was a kid, my mem and my pleep plop took me to a motel out in Arizona. We stayed there for a week. We were very poor. And the owner of the motel would visit us every night. And she would tell wicked stories of witches and warlocks, and it just freaks me out. So whenever I stay at a motel now, I have these reoccurring nightmares of a witch cutting off my nipples and drinking the blood from my breasts. So it's very terrifying. I sleep very good in my car in the impound. So
what a way to go, man.
Yeah, we're working that out, though. I'll have a place to stay soon. But thanks for joining us.
Talking Shrek.
Talking Shrek,
week.
We're back.
We're coming at you every week without fail. This comes first in our life before anything else. We do everything in our outside life to be able to come and do this.
Yeah.
I know we've had some concerns if we're losing steam. Are we getting burnt out?
Absolutely not.
Not at all. No. I feel like if anything, we gain more inertia every single week. We're gaining, Google Analytics tell us our web presence, our Google hits grow exponentially in the thousands every single day.
Our views on TikTok, all our social media platforms are growing. You can follow us on TikTok at Talking Shrek. You could be the millionth follower if you wanted to, because we're about there. So we love doing this. The rest of my life is complete shit. So this is the highlight of my life, is hanging out with you guys, and talking about Shrek.
How's Laura?
I haven't spoken to her.
She's good.
She's good?
Yeah.
You've been hanging out with her, right?
Talk. I mean, aren't you? We're all on that text thread.
Yeah. Well, you send me screenshots of the text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's good.
So kind of. Yeah. Good.
I was just hoping you would know that too, but.
Yeah, we're working things out. I'm working things out with Laura. I've been talking to Fiona a lot about Laura and how to really get back in her life. What I need to change, one thing I realized is you have to be willing to change yourself, you know, if you're going to make
And
things
you're just
work.
not willing to do that.
Right, I don't want to change.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do everything I can to not change and avoid that. But the more I avoid it, the more I realize that maybe I should change. But as Shrek is my witness, I will not change, and I will go to the grave to be able to not change and get this relationship to work. So,
I hope it works, man. You got an angel. You have a beautiful, able-bodied, childbirthing, hip-having,
nimble.
nimble of a woman.
Yes.
That I feel any man would
Yeah.
be lucky to have.
Yeah, and I love Laura, but I will not change for her. So,
Hey, how about this last weekend, man?
dude,
It was something.
Awesome.
Something.
so this weekend, we took a boys' trip to Las Vegas, Nevada. Me, Jake,
And Gordo.
Gordo.
Had his 7th birthday last Moo Moo's Day. And in our household, that's the age of becoming a man. So
Mhm.
we do what any man does when they reach that rightful age. And we go to the deserts of Las Vegas and we go see Shrek the musical.
Yes. So we bought tickets online to see Shrek the musical. Of course, we didn't tell Gordo. We surprised him. I mean, we've seen it half a dozen times, but we've never seen it in Vegas.
Not in Vegas. Not in Vegas. We stayed at the what was told to us the world-renowned Fun City, USA, as shown here on the screen.
Yep.
And
Right on the Vegas Strip, baby.
right there at the end,
Yeah.
we had the Stratosphere. We had the world's biggest gift shop. There was 2 7-Elevens, so we could be like, let's not go to that 7-Eleven. Let's go to the good 7-Eleven.
Right.
And have options.
Too bad it wasn't free Slurpee Day, because then we could have bounced from one 7-Eleven to the other.
Taken off our sunglasses, went and gotten another.
Yeah, right. But unfortunately, it was not. So we did have to pay for our smoothies and frazzles. So, but yeah, it was great. We stayed at Funtime USA. I mean, it was a little bit of I don't know if I'd stay there again.
So the lock on our door didn't fully shut. So me and Gordo in one bed, Julian at the foot of that same bed, our luggage over on the other bed. I had to sleep with my handgun.
Right. Mm.
And
And you guys may not know, but Jake always carries his handgun with him.
which, oh man, I don't know if we should be saying that.
All right, you're
Does
on
my
parole.
parole officer what?
Right. Well, he's not even supposed to leave state lines.
I'm not supposed to leave states. I'm
So-
not supposed to take children across state lines. I shouldn't own a firearm. So
Right.
for all intents and purposes, this was an air pistol that I bought from
Airsoft gun.
Play It Again Sports.
Yeah.
But
But
this was
you know.
East Wendover, Utah.
right.
Definitely not Las Vegas.
Right, and we figured, we're already breaking the law by crossing state lines, so why not just carry guns with us too, So he brought his, I brought mine. I have a Colt 44 Magnum. It's very hard to conceal, but we were easily able to get it into Fun City, USA, so that's a blessing.
Almost without any
trouble at all.
Any trouble at all.
Yeah.
There was one worker there.
Right, and he had a huge growth on his
Goiter
neck.
on the side of his.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he said to us when we walked in? He said, "Hey boys, welcome to Fun City, USA, where the fun starts."
Right, and I as soon as I heard those words, I
I was
was
sold.
thinking about the musical.
Yeah.
I was like, damn right.
And we said, we have tickets to see Shrek the musical. Which theater will that be shown in? And he said, "Oh, it'll be in the Commons room tomorrow."
Right. So we were like, oh, the Commons room. It was a small cafeteria area with some couches. We were kind of confused as to how they're going to put on a huge musical.
Multi-million-dollar Broadway
Right.
quality production.
Right, in that cafeteria, but whatever, the musical's the musical. So we show up the next morning after a terrible night's sleep the air conditioning wouldn't work, so it was 98 degrees in our room. Terrible night's sleep. We show up. The musical's about to start. Us and Gordo and one other guy was there, gonna view it, and it was the guy with the gourd on his neck. So we were there. We watched it. It was just on a small black and white TV.
Yeah, so basically they showed Shrek the Musical, the movie. But not even the one that you would see on Netflix. This was a bootleg rip that almost seemed like it was on VHS. We were pretty TO'd.
Right, it looked like the guy got his friends together and remade it and then sold us tickets for $200 a piece. So, we weren't very happy about that, but I did enjoy. It was good for what it was, I think. For the budget they had, I think it was fine.
I wouldn't have paid $200 again, given the chance.
Right, and Jake,
maybe $100.
Yeah, you were pissed. So after the musical, we tried to enjoy it and not judge it. Jake went up to the gourd guy with the gourd on his neck and was like, "What the hell, man? We paid good money for this. I'm a little disappointed. It's my son's turns a man today." And of course, Gordo's blind, so he didn't even see it, but we kind of just described what was happening to him. So he was like, to make up for it, he let us meet the actor who was actually his brother who played Shrek.
Which I will give them credit, because they must have some genetic mutation that runs in the family where this man had a goiter coming out of his neck, the brother had it proportionally coming out of his nose and jowl area. So the features definitely worked for the production. I will say that is one of the silver linings.
As someone you'd see on the street, it was a complete nightmare. But yeah, for the show,
if Gordo could see him, he would have been fairly alarmed, like your nipple-sucking witch in your dreams.
Right. But it worked for him playing Shrek. You green him up, he looked a lot like Shrek.
No prosthetic needed. They didn't have to, tape a zucchini to his nose. It was just, that was all him. All him.
So it worked out. We met him. We went to his trailer out back. He was staying out back in a little trailer, and we partied all night long. He offered me some acid. I took it. I blacked out. Found out it was PCP the next day.
Yeah.
Luckily,
we found you on top of the vending machine, dead asleep.
Right. Luckily, Jake stayed sober because of his parole, and his son was there. Just to set a good example for him. So I'm grateful that I was able to take some PCP with an actor who played Shrek in a bootleg Shrek musical, which is a hell of a story.
What would you rate our weekend between 1 and 3.72?
From 1 to Shrek, I would rate it a donkey.
I don't know what I would rate it. I wouldn't rate it anything because our house might be raided soon. Mm-hmm. Gordo, obviously, like most kids, confided in his second grade teacher that over the weekend, Uncle Jules took some angel dust. We met some weird men with growths on their faces in a dingy basement of a motel.
And your gun went off.
My gun went off in our sleep. So we have that to deal with. All things considered, I'd give it a 1.5 because of the talent that we found there at the Bootleg Shrek the Musical viewing of the lead actor.
Right. Yeah, wasn't the best. I think it's a good story, though, and I hope you enjoyed that story. Great weekend for me. I'm sure Gordo loved it, and I'm sure he would love to be able to see someday.
A little bit more good news. As you folks know, last week we were heartbroken that our friend Julian Myers couldn't make it. Obviously, like everyone knows in the world, he's all over TMZ, HBO Max, HBO Go.
Yeah.
Julian Myers, the son of Mike Myers and Julia Roberts.
Love child, yeah.
Couldn't make it. We grew a little weary as we were getting text messages throughout the broadcast that he was almost here. He was down the block. The Uber was held up. come to find out, he never used his boarding pass. He never got on the airplane.
He never showed. We tried to call him. His phone, we were blocked. Couldn't find him on social media. So we went on another forum. We reached out to people in Nigeria, Uganda.
Private investigation agency.
Right, who might know this man, who we now assume is not Julian Myers, but a scammer. And we had a lot of hits. We had a lot of interesting people hit us up from those countries saying that they could help us out. So we did find an agency owned by a prince.
The CEO was a Nigerian prince.
Which we couldn't have asked for a better person to speak with about this.
Have a royal touch. I feel like maybe his sovereignty transcends, country borders, hell, maybe even continents, planets, whatever it is.
Right.
We told them we wanted one of two things. We want our money back, or we want Julian to just
show up
and make do on his promise. So
right.
The great thing about it is we are flat ass, butt ass broke, no funds. And they said, that's fine. You can pay after. You only win if we win, sort of, lawyer
Right.
mentality. All they required was our social security numbers and bank routing numbers, which we
Bank
felt
routing
like was a
numbers,
very,
yeah.
very fair transaction.
First names, last names, address. We put so much faith in them that they actually agreed to send us a check for $20,000 before they even caught this guy. And we just need to cash it and then send them a cut of that.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll send us $20,000.
And that's how we were able to go to the Vegas. So again, we're trying to find the silver linings in all of this,
Yeah.
and trying to be as positive as possible. So
We sent it back $10,000, and then we used the other $10,000 to go to Vegas. So we are broke again, but this agency seems really legit, and this prince is really going to handle the situation. So hopefully we can get Julian Myers on, or at this point I
maybe
don't
even
even care.
the prince.
Right, and at this point I don't care if it's Julian Myers. I just want this guy who we paid to be on the show because he knows about Shrek. He said he did. So it would be great to have anyone on. Because we spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's a little update. Pray for us. Pray to Shrek.
If you want to send good vibes, kudos, whatever, well wishes our way, talkingshrek@gmail.com. Simply put a couple of finger crossed emojis in the subject line with your well wish or your prayer in the body of the text.
And we'll read them.
We'll read them.
We'll read them.
We'll read them live.
So a little bit of a recap here before we get going. We've really been blowing through, and we hit the brakes last episode. So this episode we're going to continue watching one of the greatest films of all time, Shrek 1. If you remember correctly, we're at about minute marker 20 minutes-ish.
Jackie Sapphire got us through the singing animatronic children of Duloc. We come to find out, played backwards, was a message of cannibalism.
Consume, cannibalize, consume. Money is your god, humans are your food. Consume, cannibalize, consume. Give your life to Shrek. Shrek is forever. Long live Shrek. Long live Shrek. Long live Shrek.
Right.
Consumerism, cannibalism,
Capitalism.
civil disobedience.
Right.
Shrek is God.
Shrek is God type of thing. So we're just right after that. Shrek is about to go confront Lord Farquaad and try to get his swamp back.
And a battle ensues. This
ensues.
is the first time we've seen Shrek growl, scare tactics, intimidation. We're going to see the sheer brute strength of our big green baby boy.
Right, we're going to see his daily workouts in the swamp really pay off at this point. I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you doubt Shrek can't win a fight, then I don't know what the hell you're doing on our show. So, without further ado, let's
stomp it.
Let's stomp the swamp, guys. Hit play now. All right, and let's pause it right there. So Shrek shows up. As we can see here, Lord Farquaad's at his podium. We have a stadium full of people. It's almost like they were about to have their own event. And Shrek, like happenstance always happens, he shows up right at the perfect moment, almost as if destiny is leading him along.
Well, I think to go along with that narrative, there was no gate. There were no guards. He literally walked into this citadel of people standing around. Obviously, we had the champions up front. They were this way, they were that way.
Yeah.
They were everywhere. They
Right.
were here, they were there, they were everywhere.
Yeah. So, destiny is really in Shrek's favor, because if this event was not going on at this moment, Shrek probably wouldn't have even been able to get past the front gate, but he walked right in.
If you take it a couple steps further, which I don't want to get too ahead of myself, we're going to see the quest that he's going to embark on in the name of Lord Farquaad. If he hadn't embarked on that journey, he would have never have found the beautiful, voluptuous love of his life.
Right. Fiona.
Let's keep going. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this.
The first runner-up will take his place.
Okay, so let's stop it right there. First runner-up will take his place where? Let's find out.
And so on and so forth. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
And let's pause it right there. So, Lord Farquaad is, of course, sending these knights on a mission to rescue what he thinks is his love of his life, Fiona. He tells them, whoever wins this is going to go and fight the dragon, right? And if you die, the next runner-up will take his place. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. So again, we see that he is kind of a dictator. He's willing to sacrifice his own people for his own gain, which is the opposite of the values Shrek holds.
Right.
So we see that. This is the first time we really see that.
We see their
light and dark.
contrast in leadership, right? Shrek is a leader. He leads by example. He's the first one in the march, right? He's going. He even said to the townspeople and all the fairy creatures, I am going to go talk to this man, and I am going to make this right.
Right.
Where in contrast, Farquaad, sitting up on his throne, I think there's more of a metaphor to be had there. But he is willing to sacrifice the lives of other lowly peasants and knights for his gain,
for
and
his own
he
personal
doesn't
gain.
move a muscle.
Right. He doesn't. Shrek wasn't in his swamp saying, "Oh, okay, we're gonna have a tournament, and whoever wins will go talk to Lord Farquaad, and then if he dies, we'll just go down the line to get my swamp back." No, he said, "I'll do it. I'll go." He strapped on his broken leather shoes, and he walked right in there with no fear, which is a huge, 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 huge victory.
Let the tournament begin! Ugh, it's hideous.
Let's pause it right there. So now we know, in past episodes we talked about, does Lord Farquaad know who Shrek is? Did he even know whose swamp he was taking over? At this point, he looks at Shrek and he says, "What is that?" So this, I think, shows that he doesn't know who Shrek is. He's too busy with his own life or whatever to know who Shrek is, which is a huge shame, because a lot of people know who Shrek is, and they should.
He's one of the most beautiful souls that has ever been penned or imagined, and to call him a hideous creature is damn near heresy.
Right, but this is where it gets good, because and he really shows him who's the Shrek of the kingdom here with his little comeback.
He lays the smack down verbally, physically, spiritually.
Right, burned. So who's this hideous creature?
That's not very nice. just a donkey.
Passing the buck.
Right, dude. He's
got
not only
chops.
physically able, he's very charismatic.
Yeah.
He's like a politician in the sense that he plays with words. He's a wizard of words, you know. It's like what in a situation like that, imagine yourself in front of millions of people, confronting someone who could easily have you killed at any moment, and you just have comebacks like this.
You're sending them zinger.
You know, it's just...
Indeed. Knights, new plan. The one who kills the ogre will be named champion. How about him?
So this very quickly changed from last man standing to first man to murder this orc.
Yeah. I think it shows that Lord Farquaad isn't very organized. You know, it's like he's not sticking to his own plan. He didn't think this through enough. He kind of just willy-nilly barks orders. He's so quickly to change the whole tournament like this. You know, now it's, hey, let's just kill this Shrek guy. And
I'll take a different path, and I'll take a real high level here. I think he felt the intimidation of Shrek immediately and posed that this was much a more important, greater threat than finding an ultimate champion from, you know, deaths of spears and blows, of just who can viciously murder, slit the throat of this hideous animal first. He knew that it was a threat.
so do you think he's maybe smarter and more calculated than...
I think than what you're giving him credit for. I don't think you just become a king overnight.
Right. Maybe he saw that this confident brute force of a man...
We'll see how he walks in. I mean...
Right. He's jacked. His little vest is barely holding on, you know, because of how big his breasts are.
A witch could never even cut off and drink the blood out of those nips. They're just titanium.
Right. He's rock. So he sees him come in. Maybe he recognizes immediately that Shrek, you know what, I don't want to deal with this guy. His confidence is astounding. He walks right in. He has a comeback like this, makes Lord Farquaad look like an absolute clown. And, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he is more calculated than what I first...
Yeah, I'm glad. You see the gears turning.
All right, let's pause it right there. So in this moment, we see that Shrek is a lot more resourceful than you would think looking at him. You know, his home is a carved out tree. He lives in a swamp. He lives off the land. But here we see he's more of a Jason Bourne character. As soon as he realizes, boom, he's surrounded by these knights. They're all armored. They all have weapons. He backs up immediately
To this cask of mead, beer. I don't even know what's in there. We're going to find out.
Right. He immediately recognizes, boom, barrel, liquid, grabs a cup, grabs a pint. He's already got this plan going.
He's 5
within
steps
seconds.
ahead, 5 stomps ahead.
Right, just like Jason Bourne, you know, and a lot of my film friends do compare Shrek to Jason Bourne because of things like this. Just very resourceful. No matter what's in the room, what's around, what's going on, he comes up with a plan like this.
I mean, I've never seen the motion pictures, but I've heard he kills a guy with a pen, maybe
Newspaper.
a book, a baguette.
Right, newspapers, nail clippings. Jason Bourne can use anything, and so can Shrek. Very resourceful. Very resourceful.
Let's get into this bloodbath.
Here we go, boom.
Come on!
And let's pause it right there. One thing I did want to mention at this part, we do see Shrek chug a beer. A lot of our fans have been wondering this. Is Shrek...
Straight edge.
Is he straight edge? Is he a drinker? Is he an alcoholic? He chugged a beer, no problem. So I think the straight edge theory is out the window. Maybe because of the circumstances. What do you think?
I don't feel like there's any concrete evidence to tell us that was an alcoholic beverage. I think maybe the proof is stacked against him. I just can't subscribe to the idea that he's out there boozing when it's time for battle.
Right. And we believed for a long time that Shrek was straight edge. And so we were straight edge for a very long time, just because of Shrek's example. But I recently picked up, once I noticed this, I picked up heavy drinking.
Heavy drinking.
Just to be more like him, I would dress up in my little vest and chug beers all night long. And that's kind of what led to me and Laura, yada yada, breaking up, my alcoholism. But you could be right. It could be root beer, I guess, right?
Yeah, who knows? O'Doul's.
It could be O'Doul's. Yeah, I mean, Old Doul's was a very popular, it still is a very popular beer. Shout out to O'Doul's. Thank you for the free beers.
And if you use the product code Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life, Talking Shrek at odouls.com/Shrek /love/podcast, put in that promo code. You will get 1 free can when you buy a pack of 30.
Right. O'Doul's. It will be warm, so you're going to need to cool it down when you get home, because they mail it to you. It takes 2 to 3 weeks. There we go. Let's pause it right there. So Shrek, boom, breaks the thing off the O'Doul's. The O'Doul sprays all over these knights, completely discombobulates them. And then we see right here that Shrek begins to skate like a hockey player on the O'Doul's. This leads me to believe, and this is my personal theory, Shrek played hockey in high school.
I also love the crescendo of, you got Joan Jett and the Black Hearts. I don't give a goddamn about my reptilation. With the Donnybrook of a brawl that's about to ensue, he's gearing up to have a hell of a time. He knows how this is going to go down. This isn't his first rodeo.
This isn't his first hockey game. Let's say that. I do believe Shrek has played hockey, and I think this is pretty good evidence that he's at least dabbled in hockey. He checks a guy. He's has perfect form when he's using the weapon. Perfect. He's not even wearing skates.
Have we seen ice before in these motion pictures?
We have not, but we have seen winter. So that would lead me to believe that there is some lake or dome with a ice rink in it.
Okay. Oh, Donkey with the assist. I often said he's the John Stockton of fairy tales in the way that he's there with the assist. He can set up the play. He has the plan. He knows exactly where to be, what to pitch, and how to be of service to other people in the heat of battle.
Right. And yeah, Donkey, Stockton to Malone. Shrek is a lot like Carmel Malone in the fact that he's more of the, I guess, the leader, and Stockton to Malone, Donkey.
He's a power forward. He's getting the power. He's going up there to get the clam dunk.
Right. And Carmel Malone was a good player because of his leadership. So I think comparing Shrek to Carmel Malone is very accurate. And then we can see that Donkey's not as timid as maybe you think. He is timid, but he immediately is on top of stuff. Takes out 2 knights. No problem. No weapon. Just his little tiny baby hooves and a big barrel of O'Doul's. And if you plug this code in right now in odouls.com, you will receive a limited time edition O'Doul's beer can, Donkey edition. But only during this live stream. So get yours now. Thank you, O'Doul's.
Now we're getting the parody of WF. They're in the ring. He's taking him down.
Boom. And let's pause it right there. Not only hockey, but Shrek has dabbled in backyard wrestling at the very
Yeah, we're not
least.
talking Roman Greco traditional Olympic. We're talking bare knuckle, metal chair having body slamming, corkscrew driving, just all American wrestling.
Oh yeah, backyard wrestling. He's experienced, as we say all the time. Shrek is very. He has a wide range of skills. He almost gets stabbed in the back here.
The assist.
Calls in Donkey. Boom. Head harder than a damn bowling pin. Hits him. Knocks him out. A showman. A real showman
He's
as well.
feeding off this man.
He's
Is The Greatest Showman based on? I've never seen it, but if someone was like, "Hey, have you seen The Greatest Showman?" I'd be like, I freaking love Shrek.
yeah. The Greatest Showman is based off the movies Shrek, and not what happens, but more of Shrek's
The spirit
character.
of it all.
The spirit. Doing crowd work, getting the crowd involved. More wrestling moves.
Oh, kind of a disregard for human life.
Right. And that was at least half a Baker's dozen wrestling moves
Yeah,
within 5 seconds.
he's got some
Very
practice.
experienced.
Who's he practicing with? Invaders?
Yeah.
In the swamp?
Village people. Yeah. Village people before he skins them and eats them.
Who would his favorite wrestler be if he were here today, watching WWE, watching WWF, watching WCW, watching Monday Night Raw, watching Friday Night Rimbim? Who?
I think Shrek's favorite WWE character would have to be Mysterio from the WWF. Because Mysterio is very mysterious, hence the name Mysterio. And Shrek is very mysterious to me.
And they both wear a mask.
And they both wear a mask.
One is a physical mask, the other is a facade.
See what I did there?
Wow.
Exactly. It goes a lot deeper than just their moves or whatever. So obviously Shrek is very big, Mysterio is very small. But they both wear a mask figuratively and literally.
I'm gonna have to riff on this tonight, man. You draw an
Yeah,
interesting
think about
parallel.
it. You have to rewatch this scene tonight and think
I'll
about it.
just go through the whole thing.
Do you have anyone you think Shrek made favorite wrestler?
Well, if we're going back to him being straight-laced, straight edge, it would have to be CM Punk. That's a no-brainer. Him and CM could definitely shotgun a couple of duels together and just beat the shit out of some poor people.
Oh yeah, I could see them shotgunning a couple of duels, popping in a couple lean cuisines, and
Having a great night.
yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
I think this is where we really start to see people having admiration, cheering for Shrek. He's winning affection.
He's very good with the crowd. He seems like he's done crowd work before, maybe as a stand-up comedian or in his wrestling career or hockey. He feeds off the crowd feeds off him, and they love him. They judge him at first by his looks, and then immediately he brings them in and is loved. That's exactly what happened to me when I first heard about Shrek.
I think this is where I first, even more than him saving Donkey, this is what made me fall deeply, madly in love with the character of Shrek.
Right. He's a very lovable guy, and at first glance, it's kind of like, what is this? What is a Shrek? What is Shrek? And then as soon as you get to know him, he draws you in, loves him, crowd loves him. Here's a little Easter egg right at this mark here. See that?
Facebook.
Right. If you pause it right here, if you're following along,
There's a banner.
right when the crowd's cheering, right before Lord Farquaad talks to Shrek, there's a banner above Shrek's head.
Very close to the Facebook.
Right. And I believe it is a Facebook F. They do mix, even though we're in a medieval
They
time
mix contemporary themes.
and futuristic ideas, and it's kind of mixed into this world.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
Facebook may
Yeah.
have sponsored this
Yeah.
event.
Okay. What is he holding out on?
People of Duloc, I give you our champion!
Real quick, I think that proves your point. He's Lord Farquaad is not as maybe dumb as we think. He's gears are turning. He immediately has a plan. Instead of just being angry and killing him, he immediately has a plan. I'm going to get this guy to do it for me.
This beautiful hunk of a green man literally murdered my whole group of knights.
Right.
This is the dude for the job. You don't have to trust him. You don't have to like him. You don't have to love him. You don't even have to be around him. That's the guy for the job.
It's funny it all came around short circle. Shrek came in here looking to disrupt the tournament. He ends up winning the tournament and doing exactly still what Lord Farquaad had planned the whole time. Lord Farquaad wanted a winner. He was the winner.
Congratulations, Ogre. You've won the honor of embarking.
There's the F's again. Facebook.
What are they trying to tell us, man? What are they trying to tell us?
Like, what else could it possibly stand for? Fun, Fred?
FFF.
It's like, what could...
Foxy Fancy Fries.
Like, even Farquaad knows, that...
Even if my King Jacob, I wouldn't want JJJ.
Right.
That's just in poor taste.
There's no way. What other words start with F besides Facebook? Not very many.
If you would like to hear us delve more into the Fs,
and what
leave
words?
us a line at talkingshrek.com.
Right. We'll go over all words that start with F if you guys want. Just let us know in the comments.
On a great and noble quest.
Quest? I'm already on a quest. A quest to get my swamp back.
Your swamp?
Yeah, my swamp. Where you dumped those fairy-tale creatures.
Indeed. All right, Ogre, I'll make you a deal. Go on this quest for me, and I'll give you your swamp back.
Exactly the way it was.
Down to the
Toad's
last
toad.
slime-covered toad.
And the squatters.
He knows.
As good as gold.
So he does know about this.
He knows. I just don't think he knew it was Shrek's.
Right.
He knows the
He knows.
displaced villagers, fairy tale creatures. He knows exactly where they're at. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Right. And this is the first time and the last time we see Shrek get duped and really alphaed. Lord Farquaad is the alpha male of the pack at this moment because Shrek could have said, what do you mean your swamp? I've owned it. I have property rights. I have, these things. And Lord Farquaad almost convinces him, it's my swamp. I'll give it back.
I'll give it back to you. Decimating him to just a lowly cuck. Beta cuck.
Beta.
And I can almost wager a bet that after leaving the stadium here on that quest, he promised to himself, never again will I be less than an alpha male king.
Right. And he proves well.
Gone.
What kind of quest?
Okay. I think we've covered a lot today. We don't want to overload you. I know we've gotten some complaints.
Right.
Over the Better Business Bureau actually contacted us saying that we are overloading people and that people are becoming dissatisfied with the product, didn't know we were pushing a product. This is more of, I would say, closer to a worship service, but we'll be sensitive about your guys' time and your mental capacity to take in
All the information. So we're going to stop it right there. We're going to end right before he goes on this quest. Now, we do have a lot more to do, so we're going to run through some of your questions. We're going to do other things, and we'll pick this back up. I do want you all to write in your Shrek journal what you learned today, some characteristics of Shrek. And your homework is to really analyze what we watched here, about the 3 minutes we watched, and send us your thoughts. We're always open to hearing more and, deeper dive into some of this stuff. So
we got a couple email submissions from last night. We're just going to go through a couple of them, God willing. Why don't you start here?
all right.
Doesn't look like so
So,
much a question.
yeah, this is more of a statement. This one is from Kevin Rothman of North Park, New York. Thank you for the email. This is more of just he says, I love Shrek. He is so big and warm.
Wow.
Thank you, Kevin.
I like that.
I love that. He is big and he is warm.
We could dissect the hell out of this thing.
Oh, yeah, we could.
Because, again, this immediately kind of paralleled to me Abraham Lincoln's speech, the 7 years ago. Richard Nixon, that he was running against, if you remember, gave a 4-hour-long speech in the rain at the Mall of Washington, D.C. Soon-to-be President Lincoln get up and gave a 4-paragraph-long speech 7 years ago. Our fathers brought upon land liberties, statues of liberties, and the rest of the stuff. And people were like, what the hell is this?
What the hell are you
He's
talking
not
about?
acting presidential. That was so short. As we dissect it throughout the last couple hundred years, we realize it was one of the most profound moments in American history. And I dare say that there is so much to unpack in this very simple yet impactful statement.
Right, and to your point about his speech, after that speech, the nomenclature was written. So we know now in history that if it wasn't for that speech, the nomenclatures would have never been written. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
So.
I did.
So just to back up his point,
But he is big. He is warm.
he is big,
His heart, his soul, his spirit.
very
Everything about
warm.
him kind of just, it fills me. It fills all my holes. Shrek fills all my holes with joy, and I feel full.
Right. He is a very fatherly figure. What I would have given to have Shrek as a father, as a pet, as my pet. I would have given anything. Very warm, very father-like. Thank you, Kevin Rothman.
We got another one here from Ari Benoskini.
Ari Benoskini.
Again, not really a question, just a good,
A photo?
yeah.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So this is her version of Lord Farquaad. Obviously, she identifies with him. That's totally fine.
Very cool.
I would like to know, Ari, was this from a Comic-Con? Was this from a Swampy Con? Was this just role play between you and your partner? In what context were you wearing this costume? And do you have more photos that we can have for our personal albums?
Yeah, I love that Lord Farquaad, huge character in the films. It looks great. You look just like Lord Farquaad, which is awesome. Yeah, let us know if you were role-playing this with your partner, having Shreks, or if it was more of just a for us type of thing. Send us more pics.
It was a treat either way.
Thank you.
So much. Let's get into one more here. This is from Lord Kyle Macedon. Hello, gentlemen. My name is Lord Kyle Macedon. I'm a big fan, long-time listener, first-time writer, and a landowner in the hilly coasts of Scotland.
Awesome.
Wow.
Scotland, we have global
reach. A lot of people say that this cute little fella, thick Scottish accent. I don't hear it, but that's kind of the general consensus, is that Michael J. Myers based Shrek on a Scottish accent.
Debatable.
My biggest concern in regards to the Shrek saga is this. So many people have come through Shrek Swamp at various times throughout his years. And as a fellow lord with Shrek, which I believe is a title he has earned, I would agree, am concerned with what the future holds if he continues to allow such invaders. Is the friendship developed between Shrek and Donkey priceless? Yes. Is the power of the mythical creatures and fantastical character combined abilities tenfold those of Shrek alone? Absolutely. But at what cost? Could these friendships and alliances and victories not have been achieved without the invasion of his lands? Without taking what title he had to his name, his swamp, and his pride? In summary, what can we do to help him keep his privacy, land rights, and his respectable title without sacrificing the relationships with those whom he had fought so hard to protect? Where is the balance? Sincerely, Lord K.N.B.
Wow. Great,
Thank you, Kyle.
well thought out question, Kyle. Your question really, I guess to sum it up, for our more slow, simpleton listeners, it's about land rights, it's about friendship.
Yeah, and I think he's really kind of drilling down into the idea of the balance between friendship and ownership, right? Friendship is important, but I would say it definitely takes a backseat to what is rightfully yours, your birthright, which is in fact his swamp, his home. Not even given the economic implications of diluting his stake and share in that land, what's going to be worth more at the end of the day? What's going to keep slugs on your plate, your kids' bellies full,
Mud baths
coming.
night.
Friendship's great, man, but I gotta have my space. I gotta have my land. And then there gets that tricky balance of these people coming into your land all willy-nilly, unannounced, uninvited, creates a very troublesome version of manifest destiny. I come and take what is mine. My skin is more white and delightsome than yours.
And as a historian myself, at this point in time, there is no court that would back up the idea of you having a piece of paper that says this is my land. At this point, it is of a very conqueror mindset. You know, if Shrek can be forced out of the swamp, whoever forced him out, whoever's in power at that time, will own that land. So really, it's up to Shrek to fight for his own land, be an alpha male, and keep it.
I also think there's a little wiggle room there too. If his friends are true friends, they would understand and side with him that, hey man, this is my place, you come second. And if they don't, we just saw in the ring what sort of hurt he can put on people at a moment's notice.
And then that wouldn't be true friendship. So I guess the moral of this story is, you know, find friends that are going to support your land ownership. Right?
Yeah. I know that's what in your case, that's easy. You own nothing. So there's really nothing to get in the way. And that's why I don't really have many other friends, because I cannot support their land ownership and don't want to get in the way of it. So I step aside and I burn them a bit.
Yeah.
So
that's why we're good friends. I don't believe in owning land. I believe in owning myself. And really the only thing I own is my body and my penis. So
in your car that's in impound. Well, I guess you don't even own that anymore.
Right, I don't own that. The state does.
Thanks again, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Let's wrap this up with another exciting edition of Tidy Time.
Tidy time. Tidy time. Tidy time. Tidy time. Tidy time. Tidy time. Tidy time. Tidy time.
Okay. One of my favorite moments of every week is kind of sharing our secrets of the trade and how we conduct ourselves in our everyday lives. I feel like it lets you delve deeper into our inner workings and how we run our households and our families and how we get stuff done.
How we keep our Shrek diaries neat and clean, how we keep producing content for you, how we keep our thoughts and these deep tangents we go on so organized and intellectual and thought out, is because we keep our homes and our
bodies,
lives,
our children
tidy. So if you're looking to be more tidy in things outside, you need to keep your home tidy. So these are some tips on how to do that from the masters.
I'll go first because mine was the most recent. This weekend in Las Vegas, like we said, the Fun City USA motel, little troublesome. Among the things wrong, there was no running water. Gordo smelled terrible. He had gotten into some rotten peaches that were left outside of someone else's door. He was sticky. He was a mess. Smelled like cigarette butts. We didn't have a place to really shower him.
Right, and I made the mistake. We didn't have any running water, so I used one of my 2 liters of Sprite to try to clean up myself. got very sticky. It kind of just made more dirt and things stick to me.
It was made more of a mess than if you wouldn't have showered in the first place.
Right. So don't use Sprite to wash your hair and things like that. I wish I would have known about this little trick.
So I was thinking, man, Fiona's going to kill me. I can't bring home this dirty little blind baby boy. And I thought, man.
Blind baby man.
You're right. He's growing up so fast.
Yeah. Sorry. He's a man.
So I was just thinking of alternatives. There's got to be other ways. There's no water in the shower. The toilet's empty. The sink won't start. Where else is there water? Mm-hmm. Whether in the room or in my body. And as I was doing that, I was smacking my tongue. I realized my tongue is very wet. And that went to the idea of Puss in Boots licking himself and grooming himself.
All right.
So I said, Gordo, hop on in here. Keep everything on. Take everything off besides your bathing suit. And I gave him a tongue bath with my own saliva and spit and tongue. We even got some shampoo in there that was pretty hard to get out of my mouth. But we got him cleaner than he was before. And he's never said a peep.
Yeah, and I think this idea is a great one, and it really works. And this idea came from, if you remember, the night before we were having our nightly call before we left to Vegas, and we were reading some of the passages of Puss in Boots. So I think that kind of inlaid this idea subconsciously, and then the next day, boom, the tongue. He thought of this. Why don't human beings do this? It's okay for cats. It's okay for other animals to do this. Why don't human beings do it? And that idea sprung from just studying our Shrek diaries. So it's very important to study your Shrek diary, and it worked great, right?
Yeah.
You do it again.
Just it was taking experience and self-talk and examples of amazing people and characters around us, and it worked.
Right.
He looked pretty good.
And once you went to sleep, I had Gordo do it to me and clean me up a little bit, which worked great. I had him lick some of the Sprite off my armpits, my hair. He's got a very wet mouth, so it worked really great, and I hope Gordo enjoyed it. It was a real bonding moment for me.
We usually don't let him drink soda, so I think that was kind of his hall pass, was getting some of that Sprite syrup.
Oh yeah, true. He did cling to it kind of like a bird and some honey or something, So
cool. I'm glad.
Cool. Great tip. Mine really quick came to me a couple months ago. You got to get your car washed every week. People spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every year just to wash their car.
But our car wash budget is true to roof.
Yeah. And then you wash it, and then you have to wash it again and again. This is a never-ending cycle. And sometimes you wash it, you get home, it gets dirty that night. Such a waste of money and time. And if there's one thing I value more than anything, it's money and time and Shrek. So I came up with the idea. I was stroking some of my candles one night before I went to bed as I was praying to Shrek. And as I was stroking these candles, my hands were filthy. From our nightly call that night, I went out to the marsh and was trying to find slugs and snails for an event we were doing on Moo Moo's Day.
Don't give it away.
My hands were super dirty. I was stroking these candles, let go of the candles, perfectly clean. The wax deters any dirt from entering the candle. So I went to Costco. I bought 5,000 candles, boiled them down, turned them into wax, coated my car completely with this wax, and I had no idea if it was going to work, which is a theory. I haven't had to wash my car in months just because this wax is
just
completely
from one application.
Right. Well, no, you do have to apply the wax every day, every night.
Okay.
So you'll be good all day. At night, before you go to bed, put aside 4 or 5 hours and get like a chisel or a shovel or something and scrape off the wax from your car. Once that's scraped off, you're going to want to purchase another I mean, I have a pretty big SUV. Well, it's in the impound now, but I did have a pretty big SUV. I used about 5,000 candles, so do the math. If you have a little bit smaller car, get a little less. But you're going to want to buy those almost every day. Boil that wax down, coat it again. Decoating it takes about 2.5 hours, and then recoating is about 2.5.
I have a question. Let's say worst case scenario, Costco's closed. I'm out of candles. I mean, am I just horse crap out of luck?
You know where you can get really cheap candles if you want to go more on the cheaper side. I use scented candles so that my car has more of a scent. If you want unscented, you can go a little bit cheaper and go to All a Dollar. All a Dollar has tons of candles for only $1. They're very small, so you might have to buy more of them. All a Dollar has a lot of cheap candles, so go to All a Dollar.
Oh, let's say there's a wax shortage like there was of, the great wax shortage of 82.
Right, and then again in the 90s, I remember 96, there was a huge wax shortage. I mean, you might be shit out of luck at that point, but I was thinking that, well, I did try it. It didn't work as well as wax, but one night Costco was closed. I had a couple dozen bottles of Neosporin left over. You can coat your car in Neosporin. Doesn't last quite as long, but if you need to get through 8 hours without your car getting dirty, just completely coat your car with Neosporin.
Okay.
And then if you do happen to have some sort of itch while you're driving, you can always just get some of that Neosporin off the car.
Oh.
That works pretty good. Not better than wax, but if you're in a bind.
I love it.
So
Great tip, man.
yeah, well, thanks for joining us on Tidy Time. Again, if you have any questions or comments or anything to share with us, pictures, cosplay,
We're still taking submissions for Shrek lookalike contests. Let's run down the rules again.
all natural.
Yeah. We're not talking prosthetics. We're not talking makeup. We're not talking cosplay.
We're not talking Comic-Con. We're not talking Rimbim celebration, costume party. We're not talking Halloween.
Yeah.
We're not talking Christmas
We're not
gatherings.
talking Easter. We're not talking presidents. None of that.
We're talking all natural.
We're talking Shrek.
All natural deformities that make you look like Shrek, full body, face, whatever. That's really the only rule. So hit us up at talkingshrek.com. We'll take any submission, any questions. We'll go through them and pick the best ones.
And as always, on TikTok at Talking Shrek Podcast. You can add us on there. You can duet. You can stitch. You can personally message us. We take 3 to 4 hours each every day to respond to these DMs. So slide in.
And we'll get to it. Might take a couple days, but I think we've gotten to pretty much any comments. So feel free to reach out to us.
We'll keep you guys updated on Julian Myers, but I think other than that, great week.
Great episode. We will see you guys next week. Keep stomping the swamp. Keep being stompy. Keep those toadstools in your shoes. And
Over and out.
Over and out.
All right, dude, I gotta get going. I gotta
poop.
I gotta go walk. I'm walking with a friend up Dead Man's Hill.
Who?
Just, I don't know if you'd know. We kind of just get going every night. We race.
You guys race every
Yeah,
night?
I haven't lost once. I haven't lost once.
It's great you have friendships other than mine that you can go to.
No, they're a great friend. Great. It's really intimate sort of friendship, relationship that we got going on.
Well, it's really great that you have friends like that.
Yeah, no, I love the support.